name is Jesse Peterson.
And I'm AJ.
And Billy Barton is screening your call tonight. How you doing, Billy?
Grant. Fine.
You know, we had an anti-abortion rally today. My organization sponsored it, not today, but Saturday morning. The Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. And I have to tell you, it was very, very interesting, the reaction to the people. We're not going to be able to talk about that tonight. Hopefully next week we can. But I need to know why so many white women are in favor of abortion. For the most part, they were angry at us, giving us the finger and calling us names. And I don't understand that. So we're going to talk about that next week. But tonight, we have a very, very interesting guest for you. If you want to get involved in this conversation, you need to call in right away. How you doing, AJ?
Okay, how about yourself?
Yeah, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was exhausting, but it was okay.
Exhausting in what way?
Working. Basically just working.
A man should work.
Yeah.
If you don't work, you don't eat.
There you go.
All right.
That's the way it is.
Reuben Beckler. Beckles is my guest today. He has a book out, A Declaration of Independence, A Statement of Truth, Black Power. Reuben, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Reuben, tell me a little bit about yourself first before we get into the book.
Well, as the top of the book explains itself, we call it From the House of Pisces. And that simply means that we come from the 12 Articles of Faith, from the foundation of the House of Pisces. We are from the seed of Jacob. Our home, our spiritual home, that is on the other side of the Fertile Crescent. We walked that highway and found the King's Highway, walked it, took the throne, and to our dismay, since we weren't told of what we were going to be involved in, we found out who our God was, who Satan was, and why black folks are in the dilemma that they are in today. Hence the book, A Statement of Truth, A Declaration of Independence, Black Power. And from that point, we can get off into it if you care to.
And when you say we, you're talking about who?
When I say we, I mean the Spirit of the living God, myself personally, and other like-minded people who are in the Spirit.
Okay, and that could be all people.
No, that can't be all people. Listen, I'm referring strictly to, for, and about black folk.
Black folks.
Now, I know about these other folk, you see.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, we are so concerned with all these other nationalities and all these other countries that we completely forgot that we are a separate entity. We are a people. We should recognize it and move on it.
Are you a minister?
No, I'm not.
No preacher or anything like that?
No. Not to say that I do not have knowledge of Scripture, because I do.
How did you come into the knowledge of this information that you're going to be giving us tonight?
I was married. At the time, I had 5 children. I went to work for a newspaper, which was a black newspaper. And I assumed, like anyone else, trying to find a job to feed his family, and all the other things that goes along with a marriage, that this was just an ordinary job. But to my surprise, it turned out to be a occupation and a job that I shall never, ever forget as long as there is breath in me and there is a spirit called the living God. Because I learned so much. And it wasn't because I could read. That's easy. What I found was that unless you're willing to put your life on the line and take that forward into an action for yourself, you can just about hang it up. Because that's the problem now. What I learned in terms of this newspaper, you couldn't buy. And therein is where I found myself. I found a purpose. I found my foundation. I know who I am, where I am. I know who God is. Prettiest black man that you ever want to see on the planet or in the universe. And that's a simple statement of truth.
Hey, Ruben, what is your purpose?
My purpose, as one of my purposes tonight, is to disseminate information that hopefully will touch the spirit, the mind, the heart of especially the youth, black folks, because there is a conspiracy across this land and throughout the world to absolutely annihilate him and her, and to make certain that they are dislodged from their God. And therefore they have no purpose, they have no meaning. And that's what this country is building to its people and other nationalities. That's why I told you I walked the King's Highway and found the land. Things that I should have learned while I was in the church, I didn't learn in the church. But what I'm telling you now is what they have already been paid and bought for in terms of the satanic force, which is absolutely real.
When you say they want to annihilate black people, and specifically black men,
yes,
who is it that want to annihilate us and why?
Well, now, who owns the country? You see, you have to understand the body politic as it comes from England, from France, from Russia, from Germany. All of these are white Caucasians, and they have a vested interest economically and politically and religiously in the uplifting of their people and their kind in this country, which does not even involve black folks except they are cannon fodder. That is why I maintain that the Constitution of the United States, regardless to what any Negro or Ebonic-speaking Negro on the plantation or off the plantation says to you, this is not our country. It wasn't set up for black folk. It was put in motion in order to get free labor. And that has worked well for Caucasians. It has not worked well for free men as it relates to black folks. That's why we constantly beg to get into their society. We beg many, after 12 o'clock now, there are many black males sleeping tonight with white women. If you were to try and engage them in an intelligent, wholesome conversation as to how do we get out of the political, social, economical, and spiritual demise that we are in today, I'll guarantee you they can't tell you.
And so, Ruben, you're saying that, I guess you're saying that the white men own the land, own America.
Well, the Indian actually owned the land, and he stole it from the Indian, and through technology, that's why you can see them on television today telling you about the gambling casinos. They haven't, the Indian, he finally figured the thing out that the white man speaks with forked tongue.
Well, and because the Indian was smoking dope when the white man got here.
Let me back you up a moment there. It isn't because he was smoking dope and losing his mind. Well, he may have been doing all those things, Jesse.
They were smoking that peat pipe thing. And
Jesse, let me say this to you. Wherever you found the black man or men of color, when he came in contact with the Occidental, the Caucasian, what you refer to as the white man, I will guarantee you, if you go into history, you will find that those people treated him with the utmost respect. They taught him, they brought him into their culture, into their homes, not suspecting that there was an ulterior motive in the minds and the hearts of those white folk whom black folk and Indians and all other Asians taught this man. And in the end, there's like the Indian today, he sits on the plantation saying, oops, what's up? He lost everything.
But see, the reason that he lost it and the reason that we don't recognize our enemies, whether he's black or white, is because we are unconscious to reality. And if the Indians have not been on that stuff, smoking that dope, he would have been able to see his enemy of any color.
If you notice the Indians of folklore, if you read anything about him, you'll notice he always talked about the Great Spirit. He knew exactly who he was, and he knew that he was free. See, look, hell is the truth seen too late. And once he recognized what the satanic force was at that time, it was too late.
Well, let me ask you this, Ruben. If the white folks are the problems of black Americans, how would you explain the situations that are happening in black countries, all black countries that are ran by black government, majority black? Why are those black having such a rough time?
Because they, if you remember the story behind Judas and Christ, Judas committed suicide once he sold out Christ, The knowledge that Judas gave to the Romans wasn't just a kiss for identification. It was the knowledge of day-to-day living. It was the knowledge of their God. As a matter of fact, let's go back to those days. Do you realize that today, or we just left Sunday, is the biggest big day in the country for black folks where it comes to religion? And they talk about this man called Jesus Christ. But if you go back into your spiritual history, Jesus did not go to anybody and told his disciples not to go to anyone but the lost found sheep of Israel. Israel was Jacob. And he told them specifically, do not go ye into the way of the Gentile or of the Samaritan, but rather go ye to the lost found sheep of Israel. Today we see the story being changed where this man went to every country in the world and he never left that specific area of the world. He spoke to his own people. Today, the little sissies sitting up there in the pulpits trying to convince black folk that this man went to everyone. They don't even recognize him as a black man. They say he's a white man.
Jesus?
Yes, if you go to black churches today, you see the edifice up there is white man this, white man that, all the whole crew. It's crazy.
Let me ask you this. Was Judas a white man as well? I mean, a black man as well?
Of course. His see, they all knew who, listen, they knew who the children of Israel were. They all knew this.
So if Judas was a black man...
He committed suicide too, didn't he?
Let me ask you this. If he was a black man, and how can you blame white people for the problem of black people? I mean, especially in a black country, if Judas was a black man himself.
Look, did you not know that when you give... Now, see, envy and jealousy in the spirit is what dwelled in Judas. Envy and jealousy. And that spirit went contrary to the master himself. Now, just because it is a black country, you will find that where black men are today supposed to be reigning supreme, they are controlled by England, by Spain, by France, economically, politically, and socially.
So that's not necessarily the white man's fault then. It sounds like it's the fault of black men for being lost spiritually.
But of course they're lost spiritually.
Okay, so if that's the case, where's the anger coming from? I mean, why are the problem being blamed on white people?
Listen, because we know that the Caucasian is absolutely the devil and Satan himself. As a matter of fact, let me finish this point.
But if the black man is lost spiritually, he too is the devil.
Look, you're absolutely correct. Now, I wanted to say this to you. If you go to the scriptures, they will tell you who Gog and Magog is. We referred that also in our book. Gog and Magog is sitting up there in Russia, calling the shots with Clinton and his crew, with the Zionists, and you can find out what they're all about in terms of the protocols of Zion or the 13th tribe. They're all out there pretending. They know that the history that they are using to control black folks, the knowledge that they received, was so heavy given to them by black folk that they adopted the religion that you call Judaism today.
Let me ask you this quick question, then we have to take a break.
Surely.
If the black man has fallen away from grace, which would mean to me that he too is operating in
under
darkness,
the devil's aspect,
which is of the devil.
Yes.
And so instead of looking at the white man and saying that he is of the devil, why not focus on the black man so that he can overcome the devil?
Why do you think that we're here today?
Because blaming the white man for the black man living in darkness is not going to change anything.
Why do you think I'm sitting in this chair today? I told you on the onset of the program that we could care less about other groups and nationalities, that our job is to be focused on black folk.
But to blame white people is not going to help black people.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now, see, I'm not going to absolve white folk because he has a responsibility. He says that we are citizens of this country, and this country was established through their constitution by white folk, for white folk, and it is maintained politically and economically for white folk. And the fact that you have a few black folk or Ebonic-speaking Negroes running around talking about, oops, I'm free too, doesn't make it necessarily so.
We need to take a break. Can you hold that thought?
Of course.
All right. Give out the numbers, and people can call in if you like.
You're listening to the Jesse Peterson Show. It is 15 past the hour, and our special guest tonight is Reuben Beckles. He's the author of From the House of Pisces, A Declaration of Independence, A Statement of Truth, Black Power.
Ruben, we're going to take some calls, but I first want to ask these two questions. The words black power. What is black power?
That is the spiritual Holy Ghost that comes to a man when, as we've indicated, we had no knowledge of what the King's Highway was. We had no knowledge as to the lands beyond the Fertile Crescent. We had no knowledge of any of this as it related to black folk. And knowing now that there was a concerted effort to kill off black folks, whether it be through their secret societies of shrindom or masonry, whether it be through the Zionist movement, whether it be through capitalism here in America, black power is the awareness of the living God that when you are confronted with a certain truth, you will stand alone. You will go to jail in this system because, see, you're going to embark upon destroying everything that's going to destroy you. And you will stand for your kind. It's just that simple. It is God in the spirit that controls all things, and that is the black man.
Do you consider yourself a true Israelite?
Well, what did I just tell you? I mean, you can't... And listen, let me put it this way. If you had a passport today, and you took 1 billion men into that land that I just referred to in the Middle East, I guarantee you couldn't get in. Yet the land is there. There was a one-day war in 1968 where because of the Egyptians and and Isis herself, who was the goddess of the Egyptians, but who is the black female who teamed up with Satan and the Zionists to wipe us out. They got 6 miles into the land by trying to take our spirit. We fought them, she ran into hell, and they got burned out. You always hear them talk about the 6-day war. But they never tell you about that one-day war. Why? Because that's a black man who appeared with his warriors in a cloud, and just like that, wiped them off the planet Earth. And if you talk to the rabbis about that one-day war in 1968, which your State Department is well aware of it, the NATO and all the rest of them are aware of it, because the Zionists who are sitting over there now in Palestine trying to steal the land that is not theirs, they know about it. They cannot cross over. Though they have the army, they claim to do whatever they want to at will.
Ruben, there is another group of black people who claim to be Israelites. Mm-hmm. And you don't agree with that group of blacks, right?
I just told you I stand alone, and I tell you why that is. I stand alone for the simple reason. I'm not about just talk without action. Mm-hmm. What I tell you, I have done. There is an action that you must take to know who you are in relation to the land and the living God. And it is not about you picking up the book. Look, anybody can read, can pick up the Bible and read it and give you quote scriptures and verse, but that does not make you what you claim you are.
But they are as convinced that they are the true Israelites as you are about what you're saying. What I don't understand...
They say they're Jews.
What I don't understand about blacks or anyone who is trying to prove that Jesus was black rather than white, or they're the true Jews or the true Israelites, I don't understand how that's going to change black people in America.
We're not trying to prove anything. We simply made a simple statement of fact. Let me tell you something. Are you familiar with the papers called the Willie Lynch papers?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know then that there was a concerted effort by Caucasians to scientifically set down rules, regulations, and ordinances to destroy the black family, primarily the black man, and leave his black woman standing out there like a robot by herself. And they did this scientifically. But one thing that Willie Lynch stated to his brethren, and he made no bones about it, don't kill the slave, you can use them economically. But he said this, he says, they will become good slaves for you for 1,000 years. However, that power that we now have will be broken once the phenomenon takes over. Now, what do you think the phenomenon is that he was referring to?
What is it?
The spiritual Holy Ghost of the living God. And the black man rose through Jacob's seed in 1960, and that is what caused that Watt situation out here, and they don't want to tell you that. Because if you know the power that your God has by merely speaking a word to his kind, then all of the hassle and all of the frustration that the young sons feel now, which is why they're trying to come together with gangs which are misdirected. The young boys can't speak to the young girls of their own peer group. The fathers are being torn asunder out of the homes. That is a deliberate, concentrated effort by Caucasians who know exactly what they are doing.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
During slavery, during the slave period, yes, that did happen. But there were as many black-owned slaves in America as there were whites who were doing the same thing.
Did you not?
And these blacks were well taken care of, educated black people.
Of course.
Are you blaming them too?
No, here's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that if you understood prophecy and scriptures, God himself is telling you that those who have joined forces with the satanic force, that Lucifer, devil, I am going to fill hell with them. And if you think that that's a joke, look around you today and watch how just a little while ago, they used to take the foodstuffs that the farmers that was overproductive on farms, and they used to plow it under, okay? Today, that land is being destroyed by floods, by fires. The discontent among the powers that be that don't really want to tell you what's happening because they're at the end of their cycle. They are going to be destroyed, and all of those black folk, i.e. Negro plantation-speaking Ubonic Negroes, are going to be destroyed with them, and everybody's not going to make this journey out of here. Jesse Peterson.
I got to ask this one last question, then we're going to move calls, I promise that. People like Jesse Jackson and Maxine Waters, the NAACP, Black Caucus, all this, they too are using black.
Phonies, they are sissies, and I'm here to tell you, see, because listen, if you knew the living God as I know the living God, let me tell you something, you would not misuse your people like they're doing. Believe me, they couldn't do it.
But the thing I don't understand about you,
yes,
if you know the living God, how is it that you can teach that kind of, anger and hostility about another race to a young generation?
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, to a young generation. Well, because a lot of these young men don't have fathers, they don't have mothers, so they don't really know. They're already angry about that.
No, it's strange.
And so they hear a man come along and who sounds confident as to what he is talking about, and say, "Well, your real problem is, it's white Americans, the white people." They're not going to know how to handle that.
Listen, you know what? It's a funny thing. I have sons and I have daughters, and I have yet to hear any one of them say that what I am saying and what I am preaching is hate. I don't beat my woman. I don't beat my sons and daughters.
But if you
and it's not hate.
But
wait a minute. It's not the hate that I project. It's what you perceive it to be. As a matter of fact, let me give you an example of that. Black folks are being inundated in their areas now by the Hispanic. And that Hispanic is coming... Wait just a moment now. They're coming here under the auspices of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, right?
Yeah.
They say that the lands between California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and all this business is theirs. Is that right? Well, Jesse, let me ask you a question here. Now, let's be for real. Is it hate if I ask you, have you read that treaty? What would you tell me?
It's not hatred.
It's not hate?
Right.
Okay. Have you read the treaty?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. And I would guarantee you that 90% of those people who are using that as an excuse to come in here haven't read it either. And what I'm saying to you is this. If you had read the treaty, then you would know that their people in Mexico, during the Mexican and Spanish-American War in the 1800s, literally sold out the land that they're now claiming for $15 million in gold and in silver. You understand? Now, because we speak with an intensity, does not mean that that's hate. But God himself says, hey, listen, Jacob I love and Esau I hate.
Let me say this to you.
That's God himself talking to you.
Then we have to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to move calls because of time.
Yes.
It would be hateful of you to tell me that in America in 1997 that I can't make it, and the reason I'm not making it is because of the white man, instead of getting me to see why I am weak and insecure and out of it as a man within myself. Because that kind of teaching will only, as a weak man, it will only encourage me to blame someone else. And I know for a fact that in America, Anybody who wants to make it can make it. No white man, no black man, no Jew. Nobody can hold you down.
All I'm saying to you is this.
And that kind of information don't enhance the life.
All we're saying to you is this. We are not about trying to help the Caucasian.
But if you had true love in your heart, you would.
Let me finish my point. We are not about helping the Caucasian to perpetuate his system. And we're saying that to the black man in the Declaration of Independence, the Statement of Truth, Black Power, that unless you own the land under your feet, the air over your head, and the land on either side of you, believe me, you are in absolute economical, political, and social slavery because you are controlled by an outside force other than yourself.
Do you love God?
Hey, that goes without saying.
No, do you love God?
Of course I do. I love myself, too.
If you truly love God, how is it that you can leave out anybody? Anybody that is in bondage, you would want them to be free because that is what the nature of God is. He doesn't want any person to be lost. But can you hold that till we come back from a break?
Sure.
1-800-540-KIEV. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to take your calls, right to phone calls. Back in a moment. My name is Jesse Peterson.
I'm AJ.
AJ is here. I'm going to go right back to my guest because we're going to be here till 1 o'clock, and I want to get callers in and talk to Ruben more. Ruben, answer that question about if you love God and you have His nature, how is it that you can eliminate anybody? Seems as though, to me, His love want to help all people overcome darkness.
Jesse, listen, God didn't eliminate Satan. God didn't eliminate the devil. They did it by themselves. And that was their choosing. When I say that I go to black people, it's like saying when Christ went to the lost found sheep of Israel. Black, you seem to think that whatever you do in this country as a black man, you can make it. Listen, they will allow, wait a minute, just a moment, they will allow you to do what you think you're qualified to do, and in the end, see, you feed them. You give them sustenance, and you feed into their businesses because you don't own anything. They own the politics that makes the law. They own the police, the army that controls the borders and the exterior forces. All of that is controlled, and you even know this, that the Fortune 500 are controlled by white Caucasians. Listen, this man is so ignorant that in the 1920s, his own woman recently came out with women's suffrage. That implies that he hated his woman. He wanted the black man's woman. That's why if you go into the South today, you will find the white man, the black woman, who are essentially thinking alike, acting alike, and your children, which is our sons and daughters, are going wanting. I didn't create that situation. As a matter of fact, you will find the black man's problem in this country, Jesse Peterson, is that his love is so deep and so strong until you can't get under it. And it's so high that you can't get over it. And it's so wide, you got to walk through that door out there to meet one with your God. Black man did not create this hell that you see today. It was an outside force. And in America, if you think that the Caucasian is going to give up, he needs you now because he's in trouble. And he wants to take as many black folks as he can to hell with him. That's not me saying that. That's him saying that.
You don't think that our warfare is between good and evil, but between the races?
Listen, it's a combination of both, Jesse Jackson.
But I see Jesse Jackson.
I'm sorry.
My God.
I guess he was on my mind because that's his game. He likes substitute.
But evil comes through everybody that doesn't serve good.
Yes, it does. But I'm telling you that for you to try and superimpose the other nationalities on me as a black man, I'm not going to buy it. I simply say, let the white boy take care of his business. Let the Hispanic, who when I was coming up, he was white too, let him take care of his business. Let the Asian take care of his business. And I got news for you. As a black man, I'm going to take care of mine.
I say that it is impossible for you to know God and feel that way.
Well,
and you don't know him.
I tell you what, I'll tell you what you do. I would hope.
Tell us about your book.
Yeah, I would hope that you would be able to get into our book. We have it in 90-minute cassette tapes. You can find us on the website. That's www.booksmusic.com. You can obtain the book along with the audio cassette book at the Aquarian Publishing Company, and that's RB Enterprises, at 23441 Golden Spring Drive, Suite 217, Diamond Bar, California. And we have a 800 number there. It's 1-888-777-1233, and that's toll free.
What's that 800 number again?
That's 1-888-777-1233.
Okay, let's go to the phone.
Okay, let's go ahead and take Marcus from Anaheim Hills. He's the first-time caller.
Good evening, Jesse, and good
Hi.
evening, Ruben.
Good evening.
I'm
Hey,
half Indian, Choctaw Indian, and I'm half Irish, and I tutor history. And there were some issues that you brought up that first of all, 90% of the American Indians, there's over 300 tribes that are now extinct,
Yes.
were killed primarily by smallpox and infections and by diseases, especially the Mohawk and Iroquois on the eastern seaboard. The Plains Indians, Chief Joseph kicked the Union Army's butt on 8 different occasions. Red Cloud beat them on 3 different occasions. Crazy Horse beat them on numerous occasions. Black Kettle. So they virtually had to bring the entire army up there and their industry, and it was because of industry that they beat them and their munitions.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, as far as whites are concerned, I'm half Irish. There was 1.5 million Irish killed by the English in 1848 in the potato famine.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the 12 tribes of Israel, and I agree with you, and we look at the breakdown of what's happened in America,
Mm-hmm.
when you say the white Caucasians control this country, well, I take issue. 37% of the wealth in America is controlled by the Jews,
Mm-hmm.
and about 25%
They're Caucasian, too.
well, there's people that will argue that back and forth,
But they are Caucasian.
and there's 25% of America is controlled by the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Within 3 to 5 years, about 30% of America is going to be controlled by China.
Mm-hmm.
And when you study the 12 tribes of Israel, 95% of the people in Israel today that claim to be Judaic
Yes.
actually
They're
come
not.
From, they're Khazarian. They come from Central
Russia.
Mongolia.
That's right.
Yeah, they're the Khazarian tribe, Turco-Mongolian Finn.
They adopted the religion, but that does not make them
This
what
is
they are.
Marcus?
Yes, sir.
Marcus, come to a point because we need to move
Okay,
fast.
but my point being is that I have watched a lot of hatred and a lot of division. My father was a police chief. I grew up and I was in the Air Force. I was in a street gang. But I believe this, that every one of us, cut us open, we bleed red. If we were all blind, we wouldn't see any other race. We just know that the manifestation of the person, and I think the point being is that someday we're going to stand before Almighty God, and whether I'm Indian or Irish or whether you're black or polka-dotted, the bottom line is not what we are, but who we are, and that is what's going to be the determining factor of our relationship.
Do you believe in
with God.
prophecy? Marcus, do you believe in prophecy?
Yes, sir.
Then you know that that's not what the way prophecy was laid out by God himself. As a matter of fact, you spoke about those people in the Middle East who adopted Judaism. They are Caucasian from the Caucasus area, and they're not
Abraham.
Jewish. That's right. Now, let me say this to you. The reason that they want the land in the Middle East, if you pick up a book, it's called The Zionist, also another book called The Pawns in the Game,
Yeah, and the Protocols of Zion.
Protocol of Zion, they want the land. And you know why they want that land around the Dead Sea area there?
Oil.
Listen, it's so wealthy until the American government and the national debt would be paid off 1 trillion times over. That's how wealthy it is. They could care less about the prophecy that gave the land. The land was set up by Jacob himself in terms of the 12 houses. They want the land. That's what they want. They want the mineral wealth.
I do agree with you, and I'll part with this. I do agree, after what I saw in the military, there is definitely a genocide on the part of the one world order.
Don't
to
you
kill
know
a
I know
number of
that?
people.
Thanks for your call. We must run.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Appreciate your call.
Okay, let's go ahead and take Ed from Eagle Rock.
Hi,
Ed,
Ed.
you're on the line.
Hi, Jesse and Ruben.
Yes.
Hi, Ed.
I'm not familiar with the quotation attributed by Reuben to Christ, but I do recall a couple of items that I'd like him to comment on. One was ask him what's the most important commandment. He says, love the Father with your whole heart and your whole mind. And the second is likened to it as loving your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody tried to justify, who is my neighbor, and he gave the parable about the Good Samaritan, who was not favored of the Jews at the time. The priest and Levite ignored this guy who was beaten by thieves. And the second, in the Lord's Prayer, he said, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it strikes me that that indicates there's a lot of fallibility in humankind, and I know we have a pretty checkered past as far as race relations go and everything, but the idea of forgiveness strikes me as being the only way we're going to settle up our differences, and it's not going to be because of anger, which I hear coming out of Reuben's mouth. I'd like to have his comment on loving your neighbor and forgiving one another.
All right, let me
Thank you, Ed.
Ed, let me say this to you, and I'll try and sum it up this way. Are you familiar with the Mormon Church?
He's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mormon Church, their leader, some time ago, said that they had a dream from God, and God said that black folks were heathens and savages and beasts and all that kind of business. During the 1960 uprising, what you call the Watts Rebellion, when Jacob's seed came, knowing who we were in terms of the Spirit of God, and decided to stand up as men and take our positions on an international scope, that same individual had another dream by that same God, and that same God told him, says, oops, I made a mistake. Black folks, make them priests. Put them in the church, put them in the temple. We all one people. See, now what if we as black men had gone along with this business of loving everybody while we're getting wiped out, which is what was going down during the Dr. Martin Luther King's era, where we saw our children being stomped on, beat, kicked, cattle prodded, water hosed, lynched, castrated, and then you have the unmitigated gall to tell me that God said love everybody. And I'm telling you that man called Jesus said to his own disciples to go to the lost found sheep of Israel, and to go ye not in the way of the Gentile or the Samaritan. As a matter of fact, if you go to the 2nd chapter of Revelation, he will tell you that this man is Satan himself, and God did not tell you to forgive Satan. Now you've got maybe another interpretation.
We need to take a break.
But he didn't tell me that.
1-800-540-5438. 1-800-540-5438. And the 818 area code is 818-956-KIEV. We'll be back in a moment.
This is the Jesse Peterson Show. The time right now is about 12:45. We got a couple lines open, so you can still jump in if you like. You can call 1-818-956-5438. That's 1-818-956-5438. Or you can call 1-800-540-KIEV. That's 1-800-540-5438. And we're going to go ahead and take Jerry from L.A.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi. The scripture says that Jesus commanded that they go first to the lost tribes of Israel. He didn't exclude anybody from the message. He said, in fact, take it to the whole world. But if you want to make the point that blacks are the lost tribes of Israel, why didn't the apostles? Why did they go to Turkey, Italy, and Greece? They didn't spend much time, as far as I know, in Africa. So I think your arguments are really easy to shoot down. You know exactly what you know, but you don't know the truth. I'm not.
I know the truth is it. Now listen, let me say this to you. I know the truth to this extent. For a long time, I grew up in the church. I grew up reading scriptures, and I thought that everything that I read was Caucasian. I thought it was white, and it was right, and that was it. Until I went to work for this black man whom I indicated with a black newspaper. And believe me, he opened my eyes on a universal spiritual plane that would shock you. I tell you what I would suggest that you do so that we won't get a misunderstanding is that you should perhaps order our book from the House of Pisces, the Declaration of Independence, a Statement of Truth, Black Power, and you can get that at, if you write this down, area code, that's toll-free number is 1-888-777-1233. Buy the book or either order the cassette tapes, and you will hear or you will read. And the reason I say we put this on a cassette tape of 6 90-minute tapes is because we realize that a lot of our people are perhaps lazy. They can't read for a number of reasons, and so this will give them an opportunity to listen for themselves and determine the truth for themselves.
Okay, let's go to the next caller.
Okay, next we got Bob from Santa Monica.
Hey, Bob. Good morning.
I listened to the program, and, you've raised some very interesting points, Mr. Ruben.
Yes.
Don't know whether or not I agree with anything you've said, but the points have been interesting. I look at this from a non-religious perspective.
Secular, right?
Correct. And the bottom line is the state, the area we called Israel, was given to the Jews.
It wasn't given to the Jews. As a matter of fact, you're getting ready to go to a war there. You're getting ready. Yes, you're going to a war there that you're going to lose.
To the Jews.
Listen, the Balfour Declaration.
Right or wrong, it was given to the Jews.
Well, let me tell you this.
Agree or disagree, it was given to the Jews.
You are getting ready to go into a war that such as has never been in the annals of American history.
Answer the question, was it given to the Jews or not?
Well, are they Jews?
No, that's not the question, though. Was it given to the Jews or not?
No,
right or wrong, correct or incorrect, wasn't it because of the outcome of World War II and the Holocaust that this property was given to the Jews?
Well, now look, you are not Jews, so therefore your premise is incorrect.
You're not answering the exact question.
I did answer your question. You are not who you claim you are, and that's why we have difficulty.
Everybody's been fooled, and you know the truth.
Of course I do. Why don't you get a book by the name of the 13 Tribes?
Let's get to the real point. Let's get to the real meat of the matter.
All right.
O.J. Simpson, innocent or guilty?
What has O.J. Simpson got to do with it?
Just answer the question.
What has he got to do with it?
Answer the question.
No, listen, you don't holler at me, tell me to do things. I mean, I'm a man. I mean, let's be civil here.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I may have an opinion about O.J., but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to promote a Declaration of Independence.
And my feeling is that you probably think Mr. Simpson was framed.
We got to run. Thanks for the call, buddy. Was it given to the Jews or not?
No. See, the conspiracy even started way back there, Jesse. I mean, these people are... what you should do is get a book by Arthur Koestler. It's called The 13th Tribe. And in it, you will find that it has always been a conspiracy by Gog and Magog, Satan himself, to come in surreptitiously by using the United Nations as a conduit and ex-President Truman to usurp that land. If these be the people that you claim they are, why is there so much conflict? Because God never gave that land to Ishmael or Esau. That land was given to the house of Israel, which was Jacob. And these people, I submit to you, are not the people of the Jordanian area or that Jordan area. They are phonies. That's why the One-Day War in 1968 whooped their behinds and let them know, if you try and take over that land that belongs to the tribe of Reuben, the half tribe of Manasseh and Gad, you are in deep trouble.
Let's go back to the phones.
Yes.
Okay, we got Marie from Torrance.
Hello.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. I'd like to speak to your guest.
You're on the air.
Speaking.
Okay. Brother, you are speaking the truth. And when you speak the truth, it angers people because the truth is like a two-edged sword. It cuts both ways.
Yes.
Marie, how do you know he's speaking the truth?
He's speaking the truth because I've read some of the things that he said. And
But how do you know what you read is true?
It's true.
How do you know that?
I believe it's true.
Okay.
You know the truth when you hear the Bible say, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Are you the same Marie that would say that Maxine Waters is on the right track, too?
Well, I don't
Are you
have
the same person?
I don't have any disagreement with Maxine Waters, but he spoke the truth for her constituents. They are the people that elected her. I have no problem with it. I don't live in her district.
Amazing.
But anyway, when you speak the truth, it angers people, and you are speaking the truth. And I want to know I want you to tell me, why is it that the whites and the Jews, all of them, they don't want to see black people to come together? But this is something that has puzzled me for a long time. I know the Willie Lynch letter is working on our people.
Yes.
But I wonder why they hate to see black people come together. They will do anything and call out other blacks, pay them off, and do everything they can to divide us.
Thanks for your call, Marie. We got to run. I'm going to let him answer the question.
Let me ask you one more.
Real fast because of time.
Okay, and I want to know why we are always taught to love everybody. The Mexicans hate everybody that hate us. We're taught to love.
Thank you,
Nobody's
Marie.
taught to love us.
Thanks, Marie. Can you answer that?
Yes.
Real fast.
See,
the
the reason for that is quite simple. If the black man, the black woman, and his family were together, you would see a nation rise so fast, so strong, that their mere presence would cause the demise of every nationality on the planet. It's really just that simple. And you would find out who your God is, which they don't want to admit, which is indeed the prettiest black man that I have ever seen in the spirit. And God said, listen, you worship me in truth and in spirit. He didn't say in the organization, he didn't say in a building, and he didn't say in a church. He said in spirit and in truth. Now that's prophecy, that's scripture.
Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
I know that the man called Jesus Christ lived. I know that today that they're using him economically.
Do you believe in him is what I asked?
Of course I believe it.
Okay, let's go to the next caller.
Sure
Okay,
I do.
next we got Brandy from Pasadena. She's a first-time caller.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
You're on the air.
I wanted to say to the guest that you have on your show today,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to tell him that I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not black, and I don't have to say what I am, but I can still say that I love him. And I want to tell him that he's in error because he doesn't know the scriptures or the power of God. And the Bible says that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And the Bible says that there is no difference. I'll just give him a Bible passage real quickly if you'd allow me.
Real fast. We got to run.
Romans 10:13 says, he said that there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. And so I just wanted him to know that there is no difference. It doesn't matter whether he's black or not. And the skin color doesn't matter. What matters is the sin problem. Does he know that he's a sinner and that he falls short of the glory of God?
Thank you for your call.
Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
All right, thanks.
Yes, and would you do me a favor, please, with all of your love, would you read from the House of Pisces, a Declaration of Independence, a Statement of Truth, Black Power, and call this number, 1-888-777-1233, and that's toll free, and you can order this book or the 90-minute cassette tapes. It would amaze you as to what the book and the cassette tapes have to offer.
Ruben, answer this question for me. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left in the program.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that this kind of information, just as other information that people get, are empty. It's not from God. It's about things that happen, but it doesn't bring a person back to God. Have you noticed that?
Why don't you read our book, Jesse?
I appreciate you coming on.
Yes,
My pleasure.
I really appreciate that. What I'd like to do is have your son and his friend debate some of the guys from Bond. Is that possible?
Well, you have to ask them. I mean,
Okay, but it's okay with you.
They are men. I didn't raise boys.
Okay, but they're not men
I didn't
yet.
raise
Are they 21
fools.
and over?
I didn't raise fools either.
We are
so
out
you
of
have
time.
to ask them.
Thank you, Ruben.
See you
My
next week.
pleasure.
See you, AJ.
This program was paid for by BOND.